Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here, and I'd like to welcome you to week number 8 of the Horror Man's SlashBack Saturday Challenge. This week's theme is going to be Escaped Psycho Slashers, and I will be doing a review for 88 Films Slasher Classic Collection, release number 36, and it is going to be Offerings. Remember him before he dismembers you. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one. If the slasher film formula teaches us anything, it is to not bully a young child, because chances are they might grow up to slice, stab, and slaughter those who once wronged them. And from Jason Voorhees to Prom Night 1980 and the late 80s shocker Offerings, there is one thing for sure: the body count is going to build and build as an adult Avenger takes on a slasher rampage of his own. Released in 1989, the blood-splashed classic Offerings serves up a small-town revenge rampage that is among the genre's most madcap and mesmerizing. A perfect example of videotape-era terror, with a knife-wielding Avenger that is guaranteed to provoke a spine-tingling reaction. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. I actually enjoyed watching Offerings. This is the second time I have seen it. I originally watched it back when it came out on VHS, I guess around 89 when it came out. I still have my VHS copy, but I enjoyed the movie. It was low budget, it was extremely cheesy, and it absolutely borrowed heavily from other slasher movies of its time. As a matter of fact, if you have heard anything about Offerings, it's that it's a Halloween ripoff, and I would have to 100% agree with that, because that's exactly what it is. I was also getting a little bit of a Prom Night vibe at the beginning of this movie as well. So at the beginning, we get to see our killer at a very young age, probably somewhere in the range between 10 to 12, I want to guess. We get a look at what his home life is like, and it's not very good. His mother's very abusive. She's flipping cigarette ashes into his breakfast. But she also goes on to explain how she has found him, or she knows that he's killing his pets and mutilating animals and mutilating his pets. And I thought that part was interesting, because that will remind you of Michael Myers. Now, I'm not sure if that was, I believe that might have been hinted in the original movies, but I know that's something that Rob Zombie had focused on in his remake, so you will already be familiar with that part of it. But he goes outside to play with some other kids. They're playing a game where he's walking around a well, and then they're bullying him, and he ends up falling in. So that part reminds me of the beginning of Prom Night, to where they're in a empty building, they're playing a game, and they're bullying a girl, and she ends up falling out a window to her death. But in this, our killer does not fall to his death. He wakes up years later in a mental institution. Okay, so our killer, he wakes up in Oakhurst State Mental Hospital. And it's not necessarily an asylum, but I figured it was close enough. He wakes up, he kills the nurse that's watching over him. It's a very reminiscent kill. It feels very familiar, but it's still a good kill nonetheless. So there you have our escaped psycho slasher. He walks out the front door, walks up to the fence, and it's an electrical fence. He grabs a hold of it. He's clearly getting electrocuted, but he climbs over the fence and escapes with ease, basically. So there we learn that he has supernatural abilities, and later on we find out that bullets do very little to slow him down. So there's some more comparisons to Halloween. Our killer kind of walks and holds himself like Michael Myers. He has supernatural abilities like Michael Myers. Later on we're introduced to a sort of a Dr. Loomis type character, And even the score to the movie is a direct ripoff from Halloween. It sounds very similar to it. They change it up just a little bit. Out of all these similarities to Halloween, this is the one that bothered me the most. I could have dealt with all the other stuff, but the score nearly took me out of the movie. Okay, so I'm going to give a few more details about the killer, and then I will move over to the other characters. Now, our killer's appearance, he is not wearing a mask. He is actually scarred from burns. Now, this is not explained, as he had fell down a well, and from that point in his childhood, when he fell down the well, the next time we see him, he's waking up in the mental hospital. So I don't know how he got the burns, and the burns are kind of inconsistent throughout different scenes. They kind of look one way in one scene and look a little bit different another time. Overall, I was okay with the look of the killer. It was okay to me. Not the greatest, but most definitely not the worst. So you could say average would probably be fair. And we later on find out that this killer, he's a cannibal, so that adds a little bit of character to him. And one thing he did I found was very funny. So moving over to our cast of characters, they're having a get-together, and they're having pizza and going to watch horror movies. Well, they have ordered the pizza, and the pizza boy is extremely late on getting there, and he's never going to show up, by the way. But they finally do find their pizza out on the front porch, so they bring it in. They're having pizza. It's not what they ordered, which they all find strange. But nonetheless, they end up chowing down and enjoying the pizza. And later on, we find out it to be dog pizza, which I found absolutely hilarious, because they all said it was good. Anyway, I really liked that part of the movie. I thought it was pretty cool. The kills in the movie, they're pretty decent. I enjoy the kills overall. Nothing spectacular. Actually kind of got a pretty decent laugh out of a couple of them, but I enjoyed them. The characters they're pretty cheesy. The acting's pretty cheesy, but I didn't really mind seeing them getting picked off. It didn't really bother me at all. I didn't really have a favorite character, I guess I could say. Even her final girl, I just thought she was okay. Her acting wasn't great either. So another thing that I thought that would be worth mentioning is something that actually gives the story a little bit of its own originality. It's actually one of the few things that is its own idea, so it kind of gives it its own slight identity in this one little way. So our killer, he is actually putting body parts around Gretchen's house. Now, Gretchen is the final girl that I just mentioned. She's the little girl that befriended our main character, our killer, when they were kids. And he's putting these offerings around her house, and that's where the title of the movie comes from. These body parts are offerings to Gretchen. Now, I don't know why he would think that she would want these body parts, because they just seem to freak her out just like they would anybody. But I guess that's why you're locked up in a mental hospital, I guess, at the, pretty much beginning of the movie, because you got issues. But I just thought that would be worth mentioning, as it is a slight bit of originality to the story when there's so other few things story-wise that's not borrowed. So just thought it would be cool to add. So overall, I'm going to recommend this movie to people who enjoy cheesy slasher movies, and to someone who can get over or actually be able to tolerate the similarities to other movies, other slasher movies. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Now, if you're looking for something with a better budget, better production value, and better acting, if you can't handle the 80s cheese acting, then this might not be the movie for you. But I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10, as I thought it was a little above average to me. I enjoyed it. I enjoy these type of movies. So a 6 out of 10. Please like, subscribe, comment below, and let me know what you guys think about Offerings, if you had seen it or if you are interested in it. And I'd like to thank you for watching.